Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. Now, today we're going to look at a tank that is a legend of the game. It's not the best tank. It's okay for a lower tier tank, but it is an absolute legend of a tank, and everyone wanted the return of this tank. And we got it. We got the return. It's only been available once so far since Wargaming removed the tank, and now you have you got it for free. You got it for free for the anniversary. Everybody gets an MS1. Now, the story behind the MS1, for those that have been living under a rock, obviously before update 5.5, when we had all these tech tree tanks, etc., and then Wargaming removed all the old tier 1s. Like, where you got the tier 1s now, most of them used to be tier 2. However, Wargaming sort of removed the tier 1s and then put some of them tier 2s down to tier 1, and then of course when new lines come out they add new tier 1s, etc. But everybody hated it. Everybody hated the fact that Wargaming were removing these legend tier 1s, and the MS1 was one of those legends that got removed from the game. Not even turned as a collectible, like they just removed them, so you couldn't even get them back. However, Wargaming kind of listened. They kind of listened because they got the MS1 back as a collectible, but it is in tier 2. Now, originally there was an event where you had to do certain things, and then you won the tank. Now Wargaming are giving it away for free, so every single one of you gets to get this legend of a tank. So of course we are going to look at the stats, and then we're going to go into just a quick battle with this thing. So of course, you know, it's a tier 2 after all, so you're not going to have great armor, you're not going to have great penetration, you're not going to have great DPM, and of course with the ammo you only get one round. You don't get premium round with these tier 2s. So your turret armor is just 25 millimeters of armor, but don't worry, people won't HE you because they got no HE. Even in tier 3, you're not going to get HE, to be fair, unless there is a tank that HE is their normal, well, their second round or their normal round. You should be okay. But obviously everyone's still going to penetrate you. Now, those of you that are playing the MS1 for the first time, of course you might come up against some tier 1s, you might come up against some newbies, but at the moment, because everybody gets this tank for free, there are quite a lot of MS1s running around the battlefield. So your DPM is just 647. It sounds very, very low, but when you've got just an alpha of 55 per shot, then of course you're not going to have high DPM. Your reload is 5.10 seconds, and again your penetration's 55, your alpha's 55, aim time's pretty good at 2, but your gun dispersion is not great at 0.4, so yeah, not great at all. It does have 8 degrees of gun depression, which is quite nice, and a top speed of 37 kilometers per hour. It's not worth selling. I mean, you got a few gold. What was it, like 25 gold or something stupid back? Yeah, 25 gold, which I think sucks. I think if you already had the tank, Wargaming should have gave you 50,000 gold, but yeah, sadly they didn't. So only 25 gold, so there's no point selling it, even if you only pay lower tier. There is no point selling the tank. As I've said, the tank is a legend of a tank, and when it's only worth 25 gold, that honestly, if you sell it, you're stupid. If anyone's desperate for that, just 25 gold, then just go watch a couple of videos. So yeah, I'm glad they bring it back. I'm glad Wargaming have given the opportunity for everyone to play the tank at least. Of course, it's not the exact same as it used to, because it is tier 2, and you will see tier 3s, etc. Now, one thing that I don't like about something like this is the fact that this is the only tier 1 tank that they've brought back. Like, the old tier 1 tanks, out of all the old tier 1 tanks, this is the only one they've brought back, which is a shame because I would have liked Wargaming to do an event like they done for the MS1 when it was first released. Well, first released back in Tier 2. Yeah, you know, why not? Why not do it? It doesn't have to be Tier 1. Again, like the MS1, they could have done it as Tier 2. I do think it sucks because it has been a couple of years now since Wargaming reintroduced this tank back into Tier 2. So, you know, there's no reason why they can't do it with all the older Tier 1s. I get a lot of the player base now would probably have wouldn't even know the old Tier 1s. Like, no one, hardly anyone will actually be able to tell you the full list of the old Tier 1s. If you can, write them in the comments. Let me see how good you are. No cheating. So if you do know the full list of the old Tier 1 tanks, write them in the comments. And those of you that weren't around at the time, at least you'll be able to see what tanks were in Tier 1. So yeah, it is a shame that Wargaming just don't do this more often. And I've said this before with the collectible tanks, and where the old tech tree tanks that are now collectible tanks, most of them Wargaming really never sell again. And it is a shame because there are some good tanks out there, very good tanks out there. One, for an example, a Tier 6 tank is the T150. Absolutely brilliant Tier 6 tank. Just never gets sold. And it does suck because if you are grinding that line, the KV3, the KV4 line, then the T150 in Tier 6 is in Tier 6 is a great tank, and it plays the exact same. You can't play the KV2 like you play the KV3. However, the T150, you play exactly the same, but you're lower tier. So it allows people to train just that tier earlier on how to play these kind of tanks, how to side scrape, how to hold down, how to angle. It teaches you in Tier 6 rather than get to Tier 7, then try. Because of course you can't really do any of that in the KV2. That is not what the KV2 is about. So yeah, it's a shame. Again, it's a shame Wargaming don't do it often. They do need to do it more often, not with just the old the Tier 1s, but just with collectibles in general, you know, the ones that used to be in the tech tree. Because as I said, there are some really good tanks out there. And no one, all the newer player base, won't ever have the opportunity to play them. So at least you've got the opportunity to play one of the legends, which is the MS1. Let's hope that in the future you'll be able to play more of the legend tanks in the game. But again, let me know if you know all the old Tier 1s that got removed. Let me know in the comments below. But for now, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm meadsyre69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye.